I realize I owe you an apology, Mr. Tarantino. I'm literally just a nobody, and you're one of the masters of ripping off Asian directors. You bitch! You rip off everyone. I knew that you were a dingus, but I didn't know that you were a legitimate statutory rape apologist.
And then that's where everything suddenly was like, holy shit, you're about to probably learn something new and horrifying about Quentin Tarantino. No, I'm not here to cancel Quentin Tarantino because he loves feet or because he loves saying the N-word. It has nothing to do with that. I can explain, all right? It has a lot to do with the fact that he's going after Paul Dano. And that made me upset because I like Paul Dano. I think Paul Dano is a pretty talented actor. And so Quentin Tarantino came out and said Paul Dano is a big old piece of shit, doesn't know how to act, and is a joke, and is the worst part of There Will Be Blood, and actually ruins the film because he's weak, and he's a weak character in the movie, and he just couldn't stand up to Daniel Day-Lewis. And everyone was like, what the fuck, Quentin? Why are you doing that? It's just so wild because like this is considered, again, just such a perfect film. I absolutely adore it. There Will Be Blood. I think Paul Thomas Anderson was basically working at his highest levels when he made that movie. Talking about capitalism, greed, how it actually affects the human condition, removes one's humanity, if you will. And in order to play the character that Paul Dano plays, especially, alongside Daniel Day-Lewis, was someone who's considered possibly the greatest actor of all time. It's quite difficult, and you're playing a very difficult character as well, one that is obviously craven and weak and cowardly, but still trying to use his position to manipulate someone who previously had been in a much greater position than him, both economically and in social standing, and in so doing, actually condemning himself in the process. That's all complex and difficult, and it's hard to do. And, I never looked at that performance as a bad one. Paul Dano's There Will Be Blood co-star Daniel Day-Lewis has defended the actor after he was criticized by Quentin Tarantino. The director took issue of Dano's talents while discussing his list of the best films of the century on Bret Easton Ellis's podcast. Tarantino said he would have moved Paul Thomas Anderson's 2007 drama higher than number 5 if a different actor had played the preacher Eli Sunday. There Will Be Blood would stand a good chance of being number 1 or number 2 if it didn't have a big giant flaw in it. And that flaw is Paul Dano, said Tarantino. Obviously, it's supposed to be a two-hander, but it's also drastically obvious that it's not a two-hander. Dano is weak sauce, man. He is the weak sister. Austin Butler would have been wonderful for that role. He's just such a weak, uninteresting guy. The weakest fucking actor in the SAG. An Instagram account claiming to be Daniel Day-Lewis's posted on Monday, Paul Dano is one of the best and most talented actors of his generation. Later that day, the post was removed, and the representative for the actor confirmed to The Guardian that the account was in fact run by a fan. However, Daniel Day-Lewis's representatives added that the actor who suggested Dano for the role in There Will Be Blood after the original actor dropped out. You're spoiling it. I wanted to explain that to everyone if you didn't know. So Paul Dano wasn't actually the original actor cast in There Will Be Blood. And I'm just going to say this right out of the start here. I'm not a fan of method actors. If you don't know, method acting is where an actor actually embodies the character so much that they actually perpetually, through the course of both the filming, preparing sometimes for the filming, and sometimes even afterwards, it's very hard to turn off. But actors are just such skilled artists at performances that they're able to embody an entirely different personality, and then they will act like that personality even if the cameras aren't rolling. And like, the reason it's always bugged me is, one, it sounds very egotistical and ridiculous, but the bigger one is that, like, the staff have to deal with it, and it really sucks. Like, there's a lot of people who do this, and unfortunately for, like, the people who work around them, it's like, hey, by the way, I need to go to the bathroom, and it's like, oh, well, he needs to be lifted because he's still in character and he can't walk, so you're gonna have to lift him all the way to the bathroom. It's like, wait, are you serious? The bathroom's right. It's right there. You can just go. No, you're gonna have to help him because he's still in character and his character doesn't walk. So you gotta lift him up. I mean, he's method. When it comes to Daniel Day-Lewis, he's the exception. I don't have the same level of concern because, again, the level of performances that you're getting are just so incredible and in many ways sometimes life-changing that, you know what, if he has to be Abraham Lincoln 24/7 and speak in that accent, or if he has to be the butcher and scare everybody, and as he's walking around with his giant cleave That's obviously probably uncomfortable, but he's going to give you one hell of a performance, all right? And it's going to be great. And so when the first actor came into Where There Will Be Blood, the intensity level required to act alongside Daniel Day-Lewis apparently was just too intimidating. And so Paul Dano came on as a second cast member decision to play the twins in the film. And I thought was absolutely sensational. I don't think There Will Be Blood if it wasn't for him. If you want to relive some of the memories.
Universal salvation is a lie, is it not? It's a lie. I wish everyone could be saved, but they won't. No, they won't.
Sorry, I got to give you some context. If you haven't seen the film, this isn't a spoiler, but let's just say that there are two different individuals, both of whom are, in their own ways, very, very successful, and they are also well adept at manipulating the people around them in order to achieve the things they want. So in one case, you have an oil baron, played by Daniel Day-Lewis, and Daniel Day-Lewis, in this instance, unfortunately to him, because he doesn't want to have to do this, has to be subservient to this, a person who he considers to be not only a lesser man, but to be essentially a cockroach. But because of the area that he wants to drill and excavate the oil from, he has to appease the locals who see this person as a prophet. Daniel Day-Lewis does not, and he knows that it's a grift. And it's basically one grifter seeing another grifter and them working at the highest levels. But now, because he's in this position of power, he knows he can shame Daniel Day-Lewis's character, which obviously is something that's incredibly dangerous, and I'm not going to spoil the ending, but you all know how it ends up, and it's certainly a risky thing to do.
You will never be saved if you
Reject the blood.
Don't reject the blood.
Good. Is there a sinner here looking for salvation? A new member? I'll ask it again. Is there a sinner here looking for God?
Yes.
Thank you for coming, Brother Daniel.
And I mean, if you want to talk about the, humiliation ritual, that's basically what takes place here, because he effectively doesn't want to have to do any of this, but he knows he has to get that sweet, sweet oil.
On your knees and do it. Look up to the sky and say it.
What do you want me to say?
Oh, Daniel, you've come here and you've brought good and wealth, but you have also brought your bad habits as a backslider. You've lusted after women, and you have abandoned your child. Your child that you raised, you have abandoned all because he was sick and you have sinned. So say it now. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
Say it louder. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
Louder, Daniel. I am a sinner.
I am a sinner.
I am sorry, Lord.
I am sorry, Lord.
I want the blood.
I want the blood.
You have abandoned your child.
I've abandoned my child.
I will never backslide.
I will never backslide.
I was lost, but now I am found.
I was lost, but now I'm found.
I have abandoned my child. Say it.
I've abandoned my child.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Beg for the blood.
Give me the blood, Eli. Let me get out of here. Give me the blood, Lord!
Give the blood.
And let me get away!
Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?
Yes, I do.
Get out of here, devil! Out, devil! Out, sin! Do you accept the church of the third revelation as your spirit?
Now, I just gotta say, because I think what happened here is Paul Dano's acting was so good that he actually convinced Quentin Tarantino that this is who he is in real life. This is not an easy role to play, all right? You have to be a despicable character of whom the audience knows that you don't actually believe this shit and that you're just using this to try and take advantage of this rich oil baron at this moment in time. And you're sniveling. It's people, I think, just don't realize it's hard to be someone who is a craven, cowardly weirdo and then to do that alongside who is someone who is incredibly intimidating sitting there. So as he's like, You know, and Quentin's like, oh, this is weak sauce. I didn't know he was a weak man. What the fuck is a weak? He should be stronger. He should be powerful. He should be like, you want the blood, don't you? You want that fucking blood, bitch? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give you the backside of my hand because I'm a man. That wouldn't work here. You know, it's way more effective to have the character be like this.
Get your guy! Do you accept Jesus Christ as your savior?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Anyways, iconic, memorable. I have no idea why Quentin Tarantino decided of all times it's now time to go after Paul Dano. I also didn't know until this all happened how beloved Paul Dano is on the internet, and I found some things out. Paul Dano is very pro-Palestine. Paul Dano has fundraised for Creators for Palestine. Paul Dano not only, yes, some people have pointed out, played the Riddler in the new Batman, but also was using that opportunity to write a Riddler comic book, which I didn't even know he made, which I will now be reading because, you know, I want to support the guy. He is selling a signed copy of Paul Dano's graphic novel, The Riddler, Year One. If you like that copy, you can go to Cinema for Gaza, where people are currently now, this is active, bidding on different items, items by obviously people who might be interested in their particular wares. You can bid on it, and all the money is going directly to Palestinians in the Cinema for Gaza, hashtag Cinema for Gaza initiative. So hell yeah, Paul Dano is pretty awesome. I don't know if these are correlated, if they have anything to do with one another. It was pretty wild. But this actually led me to something else, an even bigger revelation that I didn't even know, and that happens to be Zach Woods, who is on a generational tear. I'll have you all know. A lot of people probably have no idea who the fuck this is. You're like, wait, who the fuck is Zach Woods? Zach Woods is a comedian, all right? You may have seen him in Silicon Valley or a handful of other projects. He usually plays a very skinny, tall, white guy who is awkward. That used to usually be some of the characters he portrays. But he's very funny, by the way. He's always been pretty fucking hilarious in most of the things that he does. And he had this video to say about the entire Quentin Tarantino situation.
Last week I said some very harsh words about Quentin Tarantino, and after talking to my agent, I realized I owe you an apology, Mr. Tarantino. I'm literally just a nobody, and you're one of the masters of ripping off Asian directors, you bitch! You rip off everyone, from Hong Kong or tours to Bill Maher's barber, and you look weird as shit. And that's coming from a guy who looks like a bird had sex with another more tired bird. No one wants to see you in your own movies. The only movie I want to see you in is ring camera footage of you having a stroke in your own home. And when I say having a stroke, I don't mean masturbating to one of your own Blu-ray commentaries. You are so enamored by the sound of your own voice, you probably would fuck one of your own opinions if you could. And by fuck, I mean come on its feet, obviously. I knew that you were a dingus, but I didn't know that you were a legitimate statutory rape apologist. Listen to
Wait, what? And then that's where everything suddenly was like, holy shit, you're about to probably learn something new and horrifying about Quentin Tarantino.
this clip.
He didn't rape a 13-year-old. It was statutory rape.
Yeah,
all right.
all right.
Well, that's not quite the same thing. All right?
Come on.
Enough said.
Quentin, you are the Megyn Kelly of guys who look like a turtle.
Go support Zach Woods, by the way. At Zach Woods on TikTok. If you're not already following him, he does some pretty funny stuff. And yeah, that was ruthless. That was just a 1 minute evisceration. Also, I didn't know that Quentin Tarantino had actually spent a lot of time defending Roman Polanski, but yeah, that tracks. That tracks alongside everything else. Look, to people I know who are going to become instantly defensive at me having said anything wrong about Quentin Tarantino, like most of you, yes, I grew up thinking Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction was the shit. I too can quote those films. I too have watched them more times than is healthy. Quentin Tarantino has made a lot of very badass films. That doesn't mean that he's not also a massive piece of shit as a human being and does a lot of terrible things as well. It's not just the pro-Zionism stuff that is obviously upsetting a lot of people. It's also, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to just come out of nowhere and suddenly be like, yeah, Paul Dano was trash. That movie would have been good if he wasn't in it, huh? And then it's like, okay. Well, I mean, do we really have to start talking about all the things that are really fucked up about your catalog? endless N-words. So many. It's like, it's not even that he's writing historical pieces about a time period in you know, human history where it's just like, well, that's just how white people talked back then. It wouldn't make sense if they didn't use the N-word. No. We're talking about films in which he writes characters that he plays himself in the modern time who are just obsessed with saying the N-word over and over and over, and then casts himself in those roles. It's not even like he's like, yeah, I wrote this character. It's the racist white guy. It's going to be played by this dude. It's like, no, it's going to be me. I need to be the one that talks about that. Yeah, you know, the dead N-word storage, that character, that's going to be me. I want to play him in the film. People need to see me on camera. That's who I'm going to be. And yeah, the feet. The feet. Also being apparently very, very abusive to women who are both members of the cast and you know, crew on the set. Apparently is a big piece of shit to women who are involved in the project. Uma Thurman's spoken out about it numerous times at this point, but most people are like, oh, well, I mean, it's the price we pay to get Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. I mean, it had to be done. Who else was ever going to do that? I don't know. You know, every other director from other parts of the world that have successfully done the films that he was ripping off when he made that movie. I mean, like, yeah, it's entertaining, but you could go watch, I don't know, Kurosawa. You could go watch a number of, you know, Asian filmmakers who basically invented all of the techniques that he himself is ripping off when he made those movies. But maybe people in North America hadn't seen them before, so a lot of those things were kind of new and novel, right? If you're not someone who's like really into watching cinema from other countries, you might have seen that film and you're like, well, that's neat, isn't it? Like, you can see like the colors, it turned to red when people were mad, and then there was like a siren sound. That was an interesting effect that he invented all on his own. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, hey, you can separate the art from the artist. Everyone can. So enjoy your films. I know I have. I've enjoyed Pulp Fiction. I've enjoyed Reservoir Dogs. I've enjoyed a lot of his movies. You know, I thought Inglourious Basterds was fun. Eli Roth didn't need to be in that movie. He was very distracting. It would have been better without Eli Roth. You're just watching Eli Roth yell things, right? And it's not a really difficult character to be cool. I mean, it's a character that just bashes Nazis in the head with a bat. You'd think like that in and of itself, that would sell me on that character. I'm like, oh, you got a character that bashes Nazis with a bat. That sounds fun. And then it's just like Eli Roth, and it's like, oh yeah, you're not an actor, Eli Roth. You're a really shitty director. Shouldn't you be directing shitty movies? But yeah, he's in it. So, but they're fun. Yeah, I'm not trying to take away. Hey, I don't have the power to cancel. You've all found that out, right? I can't use my cancel culture, you know, the hammer or whatever you think I have. I have no ability to do that. So even if I was like, y'all need to cancel Quentin Tarantino. All right, he's done. He is done. So no. If anyone did that, it was Zach Woods, by the way. I don't know how he recovers from that minute, but you know, you can enjoy his movies and also point out that he's a massive piece of shit. What's wrong with that? You know, it was supposed to be Adam Sandler. I heard that. Adam Sandler would have been so much better in that role than Eli Roth. Absolutely. Yeah, that part sucks. But yeah, you can't choose it all, I suppose.
Thank you so much to our patrons for making this show possible. We could not fund it without you. And if you want to join, please check out patreon.com/theserfs to unlock bonus episodes, uncensored content, and all the good stuff. Thanks to Anna Loves Riley, Addercap, Bobby Lasers, Cheryl Alvarez, Comrade Junkie, Doug Caddy, Everything Important, Hegbard Salim, Multimondi, Omni, Political Papi, Preston Kroll, Quiet One 85, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Cernicus, Stellar Gwyn, Sebastian Demmel, Tigwick, and Words Greenwood.